We are the conduit to help local communities access the funding that's available. This is really all federal funding because it's appropriated by Congress as part of the Older Americans Act. But we deal with the state of Texas. The money comes down from Congress to the state, the Health and Human Services Commission, and then they contract with the councils of government. There are 24 of us in 24 different regions around the state. And then our role is to find the best, most appropriate providers of the service in the local communities. But our role is not to deliver the meals, although I will say that Holly has delivered a few meals in her day, because I know from personal experience, I was a county judge in a county where we had a nonprofit operating our senior citizen meals program, and it went belly up. And we scrambled, and DECCOG certainly stepped up and helped. And Holly and some of her cohorts literally drove vans and delivered meals for a few days or a few weeks. I don't remember now how long it was, while we tried to figure out what we were going to do to get our feet on the ground. But in a perfect world, DECCOG's role is to connect the local service provider with the funding. And there are different pots of funding. Now, we have kind of a unique situation here, and it's not unique to Newton County, though. Some of our nutrition programs are operated by counties. Polk County, Houston County, those are a couple that come to mind. San Augustine County operate, and the reason Houston County does, I can speak to that because, again, we had a nonprofit that was doing it and did a really good job for about probably 30, 40 years, and then through various things, they got into trouble financially and got upside down and couldn't keep the doors open. And the county was kind of forced. We didn't really have any other good options except for the county to take it over. Polk County does a really good job running their program, and it's a pretty good business for Polk County. They've expanded to the point that they prepare meals and sell them, frozen meals, to other counties and other providers around. And so they've built up a pretty good enterprise that helps support their business. In other counties, we have nonprofit organizations. Angelina County, it's called the Angelina County Senior Nutrition Program, but it's not the county, it's a nonprofit organization. Same thing in Nacogdoches County and several of our other counties. We had here in Newton County and also in Tyler County, the East Texas Support Services, which is a for-profit business based in Jasper, but they provide a lot of service to seniors around our area. And over the years, they have contracted to provide the nutrition program for the seniors in Newton County and Tyler County. They let us know that with the new fiscal year, which is starting October 1st, they don't want to continue in the senior citizen meal business. They're still doing Medicaid transport and various other services, but they're just ready to give up the meal program. And so we've been scrambling. Holly's been scrambling since we got that word a couple of months ago, especially in Tyler County and Newton County, to find an alternative. And so, to recap, I guess, some of the more recent developments, we have talked about the possibility of another neighboring county providing services to Newton County. That doesn't seem to be panning out like we thought it might. We've talked about trying to help stand up a new local nonprofit. That doesn't seem to be panning out like it might. That's still a possibility. But at this point, it appears to us that the best possibility is to see if we can work an arrangement with Newton County where the county would take over the senior citizen program. We would support you financially, just like we support all the other operators. I would just say this, it's not something you're going to make a profit on. Nobody does this because they're trying to make money. There are actually a few national providers that all they do is deliver frozen meals to people, and maybe they make a little money, I don't know. But the type of service that we're used to in our region and in Newton County is more localized service. I've always thought, my mother was an employee and volunteer at the senior center in Crockett for a number of years. So I got to see firsthand the benefit And I've always thought that the food is one thing, and nutrition is important, and without this program, there's a lot of seniors that will not get a good nutritious meal every day. But just as important as that is the interaction with other people. And I know, Judge, I'm sorry, that I get a chance to get up and preach a little bit, but not a fast plate or anything. But, you know, some people don't understand why we do what we do. The whole idea behind the senior meal services and all the other senior and disabled services we provide through DEPCOG is to help keep people living independently as long as they can. Because the alternative is we live long enough, we all reach a point that we can't take care of ourselves and we can't be independent. And we've got no choice but to move into a nursing home or assisted living facility. Because unfortunately, it's not like it was 50 or 60 years ago where someone's kids or grandkids or somebody else takes care of them. And you know what happens when you go to the nursing home? For the vast majority of us, we can't afford to pay the nursing home, so we spend down what little bit of money we got and we go on Medicaid. So the state of Texas ends up paying the bill for us to be in the nursing home. Well, from a fiscal standpoint, it's a lot more cost effective for the state of Texas and the federal government through DEPCOG and local agencies to support people being able to stay at home and live at home independently. The people would rather do that than go to a nursing home, and we're all a lot better. So, you know, some people look at this like, well, they're spending a lot of money to deliver these meals out there. Yeah, but if the alternative would be a lot more people would be clogging up the nursing homes, and we're all paying for that as taxpayers because the average citizen can't afford it when it comes to that point in time. So there's a financial benefit. There's certainly a societal benefit. Your seniors would much rather be independent, be at home. A lot of them are very capable of doing it. They just need a little extra help. Even the home delivered meals program, they get interaction with somebody coming to their house, whether it's once a week or twice a week or however that is structured. Some of these folks out here, shut-ins, wouldn't have anybody ever coming to check on them. This program is designed for welfare checks, you know, even phone calls and visits like that, just to make sure people are doing okay. And then another part of the program where we can do it is to have the congregate meal setting at your local senior citizen center. And, you know, these seniors have a lot to give. And that's anytime we can get them together at a local nutrition center, not only are they enjoying the food and fellowship, but I guarantee you good things come out of that for the whole community. So I think I'll make it an invitation, but I won't pass the plate. With that said, I want to get Holly to just sort of address some of the nuts and bolts of how this might work and how much funding and what sort of funding might be available and the assistance that we can provide. There'll definitely be a transition period. But my commitment to you is everything we can do, DEPCOG, within the scope of what we're allowed to do, we will do everything we can to help you make this work and be successful and at least break even. You know, honestly, that's our best hope, is for the county or some nonprofit to be able to provide the services. If it requires paying a little bit to a few folks to help make sure that things get done, but also utilizing volunteers and what have you. But our commitment to you is to any way we can help figure out a way to make this transition as smooth as possible, so that not only will you continue the services you have, but and again, I think East Texas Support Service has done a wonderful job in Tyler and Newton counties for a number of years, and we're very appreciative of them. But I also think a locally organized and operated program could be even bigger and better for the citizens of Newton County than having a for-profit provider come in from a neighboring county and provide the service. So I think there's great potential.
Thank you. I provided Judge Weeks a kind of a letter of intent, and that letter of intent has an amount in there, which is a planned amount of what we would like to spend in Newton County to help assist them with the meals program and senior center operations, or any other services they might want to contract with us for. That amount is a kind of a minimum amount. It could be more. If you don't serve, the only penalty to that would be if you don't have the level of service, it might be less. But we have committed $75,000 to the county, and then, like, as it grows, it probably will be more to that. And like I said, April Dutch Hunts, we will commit to help you any way we can to get through this transition period, whether it be billing us more often or hopefully providing assistance as this year turns over. You know, robbing Peter to pay Paul. The COG, I think, would stand behind this. So however we can help, we'll do that.
You're not talking about the different sources.
Yes, we have. There's 23 different funding titles that we administer on these programs. And so what that amount represents is the Nutrition Service Incentive Program for the elderly, which is USDA funded, Title III-C for the Congregate Home Delivered Meals, and Title III-B of the Older Americans Act for supportive services. That money can be moved from category to category. So when we sit down, if you do decide to take this program, we'll sit down and do a budget, and we'll move that money to where you need it most. Oh gosh, we have, and then I said there's additional money we anticipate coming. We have carryover. There may be other opportunities and services you might want to provide besides meals for senior center operations, and we'll take that into consideration.
The approximate 75,000, does that include the state, what I would call the state funded meals? The direct contract with the state? So there's another opportunity with Title 20 meals. And they're very excited about contracting with you guys. And it's probably for 80 meals a day at $5.31. And that's above and beyond this amount of money. And that is Title 20 of the Medicare, the community-based services money. And then there is, and by the way, y'all asked questions. I know there's going to be questions because I've messed with this for years and I still have, it makes my head spin every time I look at all this stuff. But are you all currently applying for the grant from the Texas Department of Agriculture? There is a
Texas Feeding Texas.
Texas Feeding Texas grant program, and TDA administers it. And you all certainly would meet the requirement because the requirement is 50 cents or 25?
It's 25 cents for everybody that's over 60.
As long as the county contributes to your nutrition program, at least 25 cents per citizen over 60 in Newton County. And so what is that? I mean, that would literally be $1,000 or a couple of $1,000. So as long as y'all are putting a small amount of money into the nutrition program, you qualify for this Texas Feeding Texas grant. The amount varies a little every year. They've got some certain pot of money they use, and it depends on who all applies as to, how much you get. But they basically divvy it up based on population. And so if y'all are not currently doing that, that's just another little source of some additional funds that could, maybe a few $1,000 a year, but it could help stretch your services and pay a light bill for a month or two at the senior center or whatever.
And I wouldn't speak for the Temple organization, but I do know that they have a primary concern about feeding citizens and everyone that's hungry in this part of the world. So if you're needing assistance from them, I'm thinking they would be favorable possibly to, and I'll help you with any grant applications that you might need to make towards them to help make things work.
Do we know what the status is of delivery van or delivery vehicle? Is there one available, or is that something we're going to have to place a vehicle?
It'll have to be replaced. I think there's two.
Two.
Two, East Texas Support Services is leaving here.
They're leaving. Okay, so you're going to have the benefit of those, okay.
Yeah, we got something to start with.
Well, again, I can't say enough good about East Texas Support Services. When they told us, we don't want to continue doing this service, but they pledged to cooperate and help us find a transition and things like the vehicles and what have you. So they will help. But, you know, they care about the senior citizens of Newton County as well. They will help make it a smooth transition.
Yeah, we've had Ms. Broadnax in several of our meetings, and she's, even though she's stepping aside, she's still there for support, answering any questions that we may ask about the program or how we actually get to an end or how we accomplish it. So.
You know, and I'm gonna say this, but I'm not encouraging you to do it. Because there's more, a lot of these meal money is tied to meeting federal nutrition guidelines. Just for the heck of it, at least you'll be aware of it. In Houston County, our senior citizens, and this was now 15 years ago, I guess, they didn't like the food because they said they won't let us put salt on it and they won't blah, 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 you know. They didn't like the federal nutrition guidelines. So Houston County did something a little different. We did not take the meal reimbursement. We left a lot of money on the table as a result, but we took the maximum we could get out of the senior citizen operations. And so basically we contracted with DEPCOG just to give us some funding to keep our senior center open. And then we used the food pantry and donations, and the county put some money in. And we hired a cook that had worked out at the Crockett State School forever that knew how to, as they say, put the big pot, the little one, and, you know, and as a result, the attendance shot way up because they're having sloppy joes again now for, you know, spaghetti and stuff that they think they like better than what you can get if you have to strictly meet all of those federal nutrition guidelines. But there is considerable more funding per meal if you meet the guidelines. But I'm just throwing that out there as another example that there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, and whatever works best in Newton County and you, and with input from your seniors, are best left to decide that. So,
And in saying that, what we did in Houston County was we took that congregate meal money and moved it and added it to senior center operations, which we could do, because we have the leeway to move up to overall 40% of that, 30% of that congregate meal money to support services, which is senior center operations. So we could move at your level, if you chose to do that, more money into support services.
Y'all got any questions?
Going to be left up to us to decide how many meals, the frequency of meals and those kind of things, right? We'll kind of manage our own program, and y'all are just.
right, there are some counties on the home delivered meals, there are some counties that deliver, in fact, I guess most of our counties probably one day a week, and they will typically, not all of them, typically they deliver one hot meal and then give them frozen meals to get them through the rest of the week. And so somebody's out there one day a week. There's some, I think, that deliver 2 days a week. You know, once upon a time, deliveries were made every day, but the reality is there's not enough money, not enough funding comes down to support daily deliveries like there used to be. But you do have some options there.
Yeah, that'd be something we would actually, when we take over the program, we would structure that, bit of, people that's gonna be operating it. That'd be Miss Sandy and Miss Morgan. And of course, y'all being the commissioners would be setting up the guidelines.
Since y'all been doing this a while, what is your guess on transition period? I know we're gonna have a transition period where we're gonna have to get everything kind of massaged and get it like to fit our needs. What's normal? 6 months, 2 months?
With you having experienced people here, your transition probably go very quickly. What's going to be a possible problem, but we're trying to mitigate that problem, is change over the funding from October to January. Sometimes it gets delayed.
The state's new fiscal year starts and I'll be honest with you, it's a train wreck every year. And so whereas normally we can quote you the dates or she can quote you the dates. Normally this is a reimbursement type program. And so you turn in your information to DebtCog by like the 8th of the month. And then we almost immediately verify and send that to Austin. And then traditionally,
It takes about 12 days to get money back.
toward the end of that month, the money comes back. We're required by law, by the way, within
3 days.
3 days after we get the money from Austin to disperse it out to you. So I can honestly say there's never a hold up at that. But when the new fiscal year starts, the state is like closing out last year's programs and starting up, and there's always a big bottleneck, and it's not uncommon for them to be 90 days behind, starting around October the 1st. But what we have committed to do in this situation, once you're up and running, you sort of anticipate that, that's coming, and people deal with it. But for the startup transition period, DebtCog is willing to fund up to $10,000 transitionally, so that, in other words, not wait until we get reimbursed from Austin to reimburse you for those first 2 or 3 months, but we'll go ahead and reimburse you immediately to keep the cash flow going, to make sure you don't bog down, from that perspective. Now, we don't do that for everybody, by the way, but again, this is a new, a changeover here.
My question, with the transition, is the seniors going to miss any meals at all?
Students, if y'all are ready to go by the 1st of October, they shouldn't.
We just need to we just need to say that we're not gonna allow that to happen. Okay. All right. That's what we're gonna say. We're gonna say that we're not gonna allow that to happen, that they're gonna continue on and we're gonna go with it.
Okay.
There's a lot of hoops to be jumped over this week, but we're committed to get this done this week and move forward.
And for those that aren't aware, I realize this is last minute, but you all are aware, she's been working on this for 3 months. I mean, we've explored every good opportunity to give you all options that, well, you could do it yourself or you could let somebody else do it. And one by one, those other options just hadn't panned out.
Right.
So we are where we are. And I appreciate y'all's support and attitude.
Well, I think the courts, and majority, the decision is to make this program work. How it's gonna work, I'm not sure, but I think, as when y'all leave, we'll start immediate action being taken from the court, to put this, wheel in motion.
Well, I'll tell you that, and again, I can say this from being in your seat dealing with her 15 years ago. I know they'll do whatever they can. I know she'll do whatever she can do, provide as much flexibility. If we need to send somebody over here to hold somebody's hand for a few days or just help do whatever needs to be done, we'll provide as much support and flexibility as we can, because we all want the same thing, which is for the very best program to be available here. And my gut instinct, we hated it when our nonprofit went under over there, but 6 months afterward, everybody looked back and said, well, wow, this is a lot better broken down than it ever was. And I believe the same thing will be true here in 6 months. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Ms. Holly's been engaged with conversations ever since we got the notice that, the sexual support group was pulling out. And we've explored, just like you said, just about every avenue there is. And we're down to this point to where we got to take action now. And I think it would be a good move for Newton County to take on. I think it would be a good response. And I think we got it figured out to where we would break even. The startup money is the biggest thing. Once you get the money rolling over from month to month or bi-monthly or however it rolls over, I think we'll be okay. But you said a while ago that y'all were willing to kick in the 10,000 up front, but how is
Well, when
that?
I say up front, what I mean by that is, in other words, y'all will start with the program, you'll send in your paperwork, and instead of us waiting to get the money from Austin, we'll process it and issue your money immediately. So we're not gonna write you a check right up front, but we're gonna ensure that when you turn in your paperwork each month, for those first few months, you'll get your money right then instead of having to wait that extra time that it takes to send it into Austin and get the money back from them.
So you're gonna do that for 4 months or?
Through the end of the year, so, and, you know, I ain't gonna lie to you, if y'all are making progress and you still need a little more help beyond that, you know, we're here to help.
Okay. You're
I'm
not
not gonna
gonna,
get in trouble for trying to help somebody that,
you're trying to help Newton County because the state may be lagging in time and of course, time is the essence with money to start up with. So I appreciate y'all stepping up and doing something out of the ordinary, for Newton County. Y'all got anything else?
I think we already know everything.
And I think you're exactly right. Once we start this program up, I think Miss Holly will be over here every morning to help us light the stove.
the news is she lives closer to you than she does to her office, so she's got my blessing and permission to just report over here every morning if she needs to for a while.
Well, I appreciate her being involved and I know it's her job. You pay her to do that, but she's been very concerned about Newton County. And she's helping me a lot understand how this program works. And of course, as we move forward and then trying to set up every piece of this program, I think she would fit right in the picture if you allow her to come over here and help us out time to time. All right, if there's no other question, we'll move on and y'all can be excused if you want to, Mr. Lonnie. I know you got other engagements you got to get to and, but keep your phone handy. You know me, when I get in a bind, I call you. So.
Absolutely will. I'm gonna go do some other stuff and I never can come here without just being astonished again about this beautiful courthouse. I wish every county in the state is this fortunate to have a facility like this. And y'all, and this has been a few years. What I notice is when I walk in, I can't tell if it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or last week when they finished. You all have done a magnificent job of taking care of it. And as somebody who loves old Texas courthouses and has been in all 254, I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
Add just one thing. If y'all, if you do vote to take this on, we'll set the meeting and I'll come back to you to work on a budget so you will know what the unit rates are gonna be and how you're gonna spend your money. And listen till let me do.
Okay. Thank y'all. Okay, number 2 is discuss and appropriately approve the resolution for Newton County Nutrition Program and in your packet, you'll see that resolution.
A motion for that? We've all read it. Now that you just want to read it.
Everybody else knows. It was last minute change. Nobody else had a copy.
Okay.
The Newton County Nutrition Program Resolution. Whereas the Newton County Commissioners Court finds that education, nutrition, and a healthy lifestyle are necessary in maintaining your quality of life. And whereas the Newton County Commissioners Court finds that offering nutritional services to the citizens of Newton County is an important and necessary function of the county. And whereas the Newton County Commissioners Court finds it's in the best interest of the citizens of Newton County that Newton County Nutrition Program be in operation. And whereas the Newton County Commissioners Court agrees to seek funding and donations by any means necessary in order to offer nutritional services. And whereas the Newton County Commissioners Court designates the county judge as the authorized official overseeing the program. And now therefore it be resolved, the Newton County Commissioners Court approves the establishment of the Newton County Nutrition Program and agrees to fully support the operation of the services it provides.
Thank you, Ms. Courtney. Yeah, we have to have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Motion been made, Mr. Palmer, second, Mr. Benson, will approve the resolution of the Newton County Nutrition Program. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, opposed. Here none passed. Number 3 is discuss and appropriate approve the letter of intent between Newton County and DevCog for reimbursement and assistance in the nutrition program. And that's what Ms. Holly gave us while ago, that what they're committed to. That's this letter.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion been made, Mr. Palmer, and second, Mr. White. We approve the letter of intent between Newton County and DevCog for reimbursement and assistance of the nutrition program. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Here none passed. Here motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made, Mr. White, and second, Mr. Benson, will adjourn at 9:40.